3 a.m. at the WTA headquarters. The phone's ringing off the hook. A tournament director is screaming into the line. "It's not about drugs or injuries," he yells. And I quote, "The website is literally melting. 40,000 people are stuck in a digital waiting room, and she hasn't even won the title yet." Who is she? A 5'9" storm from the Philippines. Now the entire Women's Tennis Association is staring at each other in terror. Eala just broke the game. It wasn't just her forehand or her cool head. She shattered the entire economy of tennis. Ticket servers are crashing. Scalpers are actually begging for mercy. And the WTA realizes a terrifying truth. They have zero clue how to handle a superstar who came out of nowhere. This isn't a tennis story. It's a riot. Today, we're diving into the chaos. Let me set the scene. For 20 years, tennis has been a predictable machine. You have your Grand Slams, your top 10 rankings, sponsors writing checks to the same usual suspects. If you're from a small country with no history of champions, you're expected to wait your turn. You should be happy with a wild card here, a handshake there, and a second-round exit. But Eala didn't read that script. Actually, I think she burned it. This 19-year-old just made the entire tennis industry choke on its mineral water. She announced she was playing a specific tournament. Just the announcement, not the win. Within 4 hours, the online ticket system flatlined. We are talking about the infamous circle of doom, the spinning wheel of death. Suits were slamming keyboards, screaming, "Why is Manila calling our switchboard?" Because Alex isn't just a player anymore. She is a movement. And when a movement shows up, those stadiums better be ready or they will be torn down. To understand why the WTA is panicking, you have to go back to the dark days when nobody believed. Imagine growing up in the Philippines, a nation of 110 million people obsessed with basketball and boxing. But tennis? Tennis is a world of grass courts and polite clapping. It belongs to Europe and America. When Alex was 10, she told her mother, "I want to be number one." People just smiled and patted her head. But behind those smiles was doubt. To make it, you need millions. You need elite academies in Spain or Florida. You need private jets and physios. Alex had a dream and a second-hand racket. She left home at 13 years old. She moved to the Rafael Nadal Academy alone. While other girls posted selfies, Alex hit backhands until her palms bled. Here is where the story gets painful. For years, the tennis media completely ignored her. She won the Australian Open Juniors. Silence. She won the US Open Juniors. Crickets. The WTA looked at her ranking and said she's too small, too nice, from the wrong market. But they forgot one thing: the Filipino fan base. You see, Filipinos don't just watch sports, they occupy them. When Manny Pacquiao fought, the whole country shut down. Crime dropped to zero. Even rebels stopped shooting to watch the fight. Alex inherited that DNA, but the WTA didn't see it yet. They just saw her losing in qualifying rounds and struggling with injuries. They thought they had time. They were wrong. The turning point didn't happen on a TV broadcast. It happened on a tiny smartphone screen in a jeepney in Manila. Alex won a match. Not a major title, just a solid win against a top 50 player. But when the point ended with a lunging backhand down the line, the entire Philippines felt it. Within 1 hour, Eala was trending #1 on Twitter. #1 in the world. Not just tennis Twitter, global Twitter. News anchors started stuttering, trying to remember how to even pronounce forehand. Then came the match that broke the matrix. She was playing a former Grand Slam champion with a missile serve. The first set was a disaster. Alex looked nervous. Double faults. Short balls. The commentators wrote her off as just another case of youthful inexperience. But then something clicked. Alex started talking to herself. Not a whisper, a growl. She locked eyes with the champion and started hitting. Not just rallying, she was hunting. Forehand cross-court, backhand down the line. A drop shot that bit the clay like a snake. The champion looked at her box, confused and frustrated. The stadium went quiet, terrified. They were watching a changing of the guard in real time. Match point. Alex serves. The champion slices it back. Alex runs, slides, and flicks a passing shot that paints the line. The ball bounces twice. Silence, then the explosion. But here's the detail the WTA missed. When Alex looked into the camera after the handshake, she didn't scream. She pointed at the lens and mouthed 3 words. "We are here." That night, the a website crashed for the first time. Let's fast forward to the incident that caused a panic attack in the WTA boardroom. A quiet European city. A 250-level event. Usually, they sell 2,000 tickets for early rounds, mostly to retired couples. Then they announced Eala as a wildcard entry. The tournament director figured, great, a solid junior. Maybe 500 extra views. He totally forgot to check the time zone. When news hit Manila, it was 8 p.m. prime time. Millions of screens instantly lit up. Their cheap ticket site got slammed with 200,000 requests every single second. Check out this actual headline from a major sports business journal. The Eala effect. Tournament forced to migrate servers. Unprecedented Asian traffic. Absolutely unprecedented. They were calling Amazon Web Services at 2 a.m., begging for more cloud space. And here is where the WTA starts to sweat. Tickets for Alex's matches were going for 10 times face value on the black market. A seat to see her play round 1 cost more than the finals for the men's event. Why? Because the global Filipino diaspora showed up. From Milan to Madrid, London to LA, Filipinos booked flights. They booked hotels. They brought signs, flags, and drums. Tournaments had to bring in extra security just to manage the flag-waving crowds gathered outside the gates. Opponents complained, "It's not a match." One player whispered to her coach, "It is a concert." They scream when she breathes. The WTA saw those numbers and panicked. Why does this matter? Is it just about a girl hitting a yellow ball? No, this is about dignity. For decades, the sports world saw the Philippines as just another consumer market. A place to sell shoes and soda, but never a place that could produce a global star in a traditionally white sport. Eala changed the algorithm. When she plays, a grandmother in a rural province forgets about her arthritis. When she wins, a little boy who has never seen grass courts picks up a broomstick to pretend it's a racket. The WTA is panicking because they lost control. Usually, they build stars slowly. They feed us stories and pick the magazine covers. But Alex built her own brand with no PR machine and zero Western media backing. She built an army on social media with pure grit. Now that army is too big to ignore. Listen to this fan who camped out 14 hours for a ticket. "I do not care if she loses in the first round. I just want her to see my flag. I want her to know she is not alone. That is not just tennis. It is a movement. And movements never ask for permission." Rival locker rooms are terrified. I spoke with a source inside a top player's camp who asked to remain anonymous. They said, "We watch film on Sabalenka and Swiatek, but we have no film on how to play against 15,000 people screaming like the Super Bowl." The intimidation factor is real. In her last match, the opponent double faulted 3 times in a row. Why? Because she couldn't even hear herself think. The umpire begged for quiet, but the crowd refused. They weren't being rude, they were being present. And here's the media shock. Major outlets are now scrambling. ESPN ran a segment titled, "Has anyone seen this girl?" The BBC wrote, "Eala, the cult hero tennis didn't know it needed." Cult hero, not rising star, not promising talent. Cult hero because a cult implies obsession and obsession drives ratings. The WTA knows this. They know Eala is the answer to their prayers for the Asian market, but they're terrified of losing control. She won't play their political games or grovel for wild cards. She just wins, and her people show up. Now, let's talk money. That is where the suits really sweat. When Alex enters a tournament, ticket sales spike 100%. 100%. Merchandise sells out in hours. Hats, shirts, towels, even a racket she used is selling for thousands on eBay. One tournament director admitted in a leaked email, "We can't afford not to have her, but we also can't afford the infrastructure to host her fans." That is the definition of a good problem. But for the WTA, it's a nightmare because the season calendar is fixed. The big WTA 1000 tournaments have strict rules, but Alex is currently ranked elsewhere. Let's just say she's not high enough to force entry into big events. Yet her demand is higher than the world number one. Do you break your own rules to let her in? Risk the wrath of established stars? Or keep her out and lose millions in broadcast rights? This is panic. This is chaos. The WTA is caught in a war between tradition and raw demand. And Eala is holding the detonator. So where does this leave us? Alex just landed in a new city for her next tournament. The airport was swarmed. Police had to form a human chain as she walked through the crowd wearing headphones, smiling, but focused. She didn't wave like a beauty queen. She nodded like a prize fighter entering the ring. Whispers in the WTA halls are getting louder. Some want to fine her for excessive crowd disruption. Others want to give her a special exemption into every major draw. But Alex doesn't care about their board meetings. She only cares about the next point. And here's the terrifying question that keeps executives awake at night. What happens when she actually wins a major? Not a 250, a grand slam. If a quarterfinal crashes servers, a final might crash the internet. The WTA thought they signed a tennis player. They accidentally signed a pop star with a backhand. And the show is just beginning. Stay tuned, because next time Eala steps on court, the world might stop spinning.